Happy Saturday, everybody. This is Felicia. And some of you already know me. I'm not going to keep introducing myself each talk because that's kind of crazy. But today, I'm going to talk about avoiding the harvest. Yesterday, I had a conversation with someone who wanted to, we had a conversation about energy harvesting. Energy harvesting. I've talked about this before a number of times, but we talked about it this time because we're so close to an election here in the U.S. And so I felt after having the talk with her, it was important to mention again the whole energy harvesting thing. And a lot of people are like, well, what is energy harvesting? Energy harvesting is capturing energy from the environment and converting it. That is the definition of it. It doesn't have to be amongst humans, but we're going to talk about, or beings, but that's what we're talking about today, because it does happen with beings. And it happens quite often with us when we allow ourselves to get emotionally caught up in bullshit. That's basically what it is. That's the other definition. Allowing ourselves to get emotionally caught up in BS. And so, since we're talking about that, let's talk about the energy vampire. Someone who drains emotional energy from others. We all have met someone. We all talk about them. People at work, people we've known all our lives. You spend a couple minutes with them and you're just like, oh my God, how can I escape? I feel drained. They're just like, they're such a downer, right? They depress you. They're just, those kind of people are caught up in their own misery, and misery loves company. But today we're going to talk about the others, because unfortunately, these folks, these energy vampires, they're intentional and unintentional. The people we just talked about are unintentional. Everybody's familiar with them. Nobody's afraid of them or concerned about them. The people that usually catch us off guard are the intentional ones. There are intentional folks out here, intentional energy vampires. And they show up on the small scale in our personal relationships, and they show up on the major scale, which is what I started talking about in this talk. I'm not accusing anybody who's running for office, and I'm not accusing anybody in the media, but when we get caught up watching these folks on TV, excuse me, oh boy, when we get caught up watching these folks on TV, watching particular movies that get us emotionally wound up, when we watch images over and over and over again that get us angry and emotionally wound up, that enables certain individuals who understand how this whole thing works. It enables them to basically pull our energy and use it to manifest for themselves. That's literally what these people are doing, that know what they're doing, okay? That are doing it deliberately. They're pulling in on our energy when we get emotionally caught up, and they're using it to manifest for themselves. I know that sounds like a movie, or something fictional, but it's not. It's real, it's happening. It happens every day. In our personal lives, it happens through breadcrumbing. What is breadcrumbing? When somebody gives you just enough love to keep you around and keep you hopeful that they might actually care for you, when they don't really give a damn. They don't give a rat's ass, but they're going to hang around. They're going to come and give you a little bit, just enough attention to make you feel like it's worth giving them another shot, another chance, and you're sharing your emotions, but you're emotionally caught up, right? You're emotionally caught up, and you're hopeful that things are going to get better, but they never do. think about Hansel and Gretel, the fairy tale, right? And that's where the whole term breadcrumbing, you drop a bread here, hoping you can find that trail. The trail can be followed before the birds eat it, right? Before understanding. It also happens with trauma bonding, which is often connected to the breadcrumbing, right? Someone who's very damaged, doesn't know how to love, they get your attention, they pull you in so that they can, they can basically project their pain and their trauma onto you. And you willingly accept until you realize that this is not healthy for you and you run in the other direction. All right? These all things happen from what I talked about the last time, the illusion of romance, right? All these movies, these love stories, the love songs, all these things that are programmed, it's constant programming in our world. We're miserable in so many ways, right? Some of us. And the idea of romance will fix it all, which is some more BS, right? Because romance is an illusion. It's an illusion that the ego creates in order to cause pain, right? The ego, and some people will argue about the ego, but the vulnerability, but smart vulnerability is what protects us and saves us, okay? And I'm going to talk about that more in a minute. But the illusion of romance is how these things were able to be trapped in these situations, right? The breadcrumbing and the trauma bonding. And the only way to escape that is detachment through reprogramming, okay? Reprogramming ourselves, stepping away from these usual channels that feed us this illusion of romance and wanting love, and this is the only way to get it, right? And so, once again, we reprogram ourselves through affirmations, positive affirmations. We reprogram ourselves through working on our shadow, doing our shadow work, and being honest with ourselves about ourselves. Knowing that we're one with God, the Creator, whatever term you like to use. We're one, which means we're all connected. We're all connected. We're connected to all these people, the people that we've connected, attached ourselves to this illusion of romance, to people. And that's the thing. Love is not selective, okay? We're all connected to God, which means the only love is unconditional love. God does not love conditionally. God is not going to say, okay, I choose you people, this small group over here. That's what happens in a teenage lunchroom, right? I love you guys over here, but you guys over there, screw you. Listen, if you're afraid of hell, guess where we are right now, learning our lessons. Could hell be any worse than where you are right now? Could it? Think about it. Think about what hell really means. If we're no longer in our material body, going into fire, would the fire even affect us? Hell is miserable life where there's a lack of love. That is hell. Hell right here on earth, right? And the only way to escape that is to learn unconditional love, to remember that we're all connected, not allowing, the sources that believe in divide and conquer, that we're different, we're separate. We don't all have to be cloned and think and believe the same things, but we're all connected, and we're connected by DNA, okay? I talk about that in The Other Side of Life. I talk about that when I talk about the reincarnation and other aspects that prove that there's only a few chromosomes that separate all of us. We could all be twins except for a few chromosomes. There's research on that and proof. There's evidence that we are not as separate as some of us would like to believe. And that only comes from fear. And the only thing that beats fear is what? Love. Okay. And that unconditional love is working on your inner child to relieve and remove that fear, right? Because when a person really loves themselves and they've healed their inner child, they don't have time to project fear, which is where all these negative things come, all these negative emotions, hatred, anger, all these things, reasons to find separation and differences in other people. All of that comes from fear. It comes from fear. When you heal that inner child and you practice unconditional love with detachment, there's no reason for that fear, right? And when you don't have that fear, you're not vulnerable to people who are energy harvesting. Okay, so now that we've gotten through all that, I did pull from my favorite little oracle book right now, Beyond Lemuria. I love these cards. And the first card that I pulled was, let's see, Mount Shasta. Mount Shasta here is the first card that I pulled. And Mount Shasta represents self-love. Here we go again with the importance of self-love. And when I mean that, I don't mean the egotistical kind, comparing yourselves to others. Because if you really love yourself, there's no reason to compare yourself to others. That's that fear stuff I was just talking about, right? The self-love is loving yourself, the healed, blossomed parts, and the parts that you're still working on that haven't healed and haven't blossomed yet, and being gentle with yourself through that healing, okay? And part of doing that also with Mount Shasta is listening to your inner guidance. The more that you listen to your inner guidance, the less that the energy harvesting can occur, because they're expecting you to listen to these projections that you see all over, on signs outside, from people who also don't know any better that are projecting at you, from other channels, whether it's the movies, the media, wherever it is, books, whatever it is. Who knows best? Listening to your inner self, that soft, gentle voice within that's not going to be spewing hatred, okay? That's not your inner voice. That's your ego, all right? The second card that I picked was radical expansion. Radical expansion. What does radical expansion talk about? It talks about authenticity, okay? Authenticity. That is the key to everything, okay? You're not perfect. Nobody's perfect. But taking off that mask, that's what authenticity is. Taking off that mask, pretending, removing the pretending, and being yourself, and loving and embracing yourself, okay? Just the way you are. All the healed stuff and all the unhealed stuff that you still honestly know you need to work on, okay? And part of that is living and loving without fear. That vulnerability that I talked about earlier, a lot of people think that's a joke. But that's because they're living in fear. They're living in fear. When they think that somebody is, and this doesn't mean you don't have boundaries, okay? Part of that unconditional love and not being afraid to be yourself is knowing who deserves. You're loving with detachment, okay? This goes back to the detachment I talked about. So you know who deserves to receive your loving up close. And everybody else, you love them at a distance. I had to learn this at a very early age through family relationships, okay? Not my immediate family, but extended family. I had to learn if I didn't want to get hurt, and they weren't deliberately trying to hurt me, I don't think. Whether they were or not doesn't matter. In order to protect myself, I learned to love from a distance, right? You love them, but you don't make your vulnerability available so that their inner wounds project and hurt you, okay? Directly. And then here's the reason why. Because holding back love, like some people think you're supposed to do, you're withholding love from yourself. If we're all connected by God, the Creator, whatever term you like to use, if we're all connected, if you're withholding love from somebody, guess who's suffering first? Hello? You're suffering because you're withholding love from yourself. You can love people all day long that are fearful and feel like they're using the H-A-T word, H-A-T-E word towards you and projecting. They could be projecting black magic, whatever it is that they like to do in their fear. And you can still love them from a distance, unconditionally and genuinely. That's actually your protection, because getting to the third card, you have protection as soon as you connect to your spiritual team and you stay in that unconditional place of genuine love, okay? And you're brave enough to be vulnerable. So the third card is the crown chakra, okay? That is talking about listening to your inner guidance, once again. And it's also talking about listening to your spirit team. That spirit team includes God. It includes your ancestors. And for those of you who think it's not healthy or it's evil to listen to your ancestors, let your parents die, okay? Those are your ancestors. When your grandparents and your parents die and you love them and you miss them and they're trying to talk to you and guide you from the other side. Oh, is that evil? Really? Think about that. I think if you do believe that, listening to your spirit guides and your ancestors is evil or wrong, it's time for some reflection. Because they're over there and they want to. The angels want to help you. Your guides want to help you. Your ancestors want to help you. They can only help you if you're willing to listen. If you're willing to be still and listen to what they have to say and invite them, because nobody comes to help you if they're not invited. Okay? We all have free will here. We all have the option of saying, okay, please help me. I love you. I miss you so much. I'd love to talk to you. I do need your guidance here while I'm here having this learning experience on earth. Okay? And once you do that, once you continue that loving relationship with them, they will show up and talk to you. If you're willing to listen, every time, they will show up every time. And so, that is all I have to say for that. If you like what you heard today, please like me. Please push that like button. Please look at some of my other videos. I am going to be continuing this. And if you'd like a one-on-one, I am certifying for national counseling, both integrative health and wellness and life coaching, not counseling, coaching, sorry. I need more coffee. So I am certifying as an integrational health and wellness coach for national and local. I am a healer. I have natural gifts that I've had all my life. And so I can energy heal, and I'd love to help if somebody needs help. Please just email me at wurbanw@gmail.com. Thank you. I so appreciate you listening, and I hope to connect with you again soon. Cheers.